Welcome, seekers, to Moon Magic, the Scorpio new moon on November 7th at 15 degrees of Scorpio in 2018. You guys, this is wild. This is the beginning of year 2 with Moon Magic. I started this series on the new moon in Scorpio last year. What a powerful time last year was. I know my October, November last year were so powerful. And I think this October, November is already no different. Very powerful time of year. This new moon is kind of one of my favorites. I think why I got called to start the series last year is because the new moon in Scorpio is so symbolic. You know, the moon cycle, of course, happens every month. When we have that new moon, we're opening new beginnings. And in the sign of transformation, you have the opportunity to sit in the quiet of the midnight garden. You don't even have to be digging around in there, and be at peace with it, and be open, and be soft, and be kind. And this particular new moon is just powerful. It's a powerful healing new moon. It is a powerful releasing new moon. And I always say with Scorpionic energy, this is the energy that you can use for the greatest, deepest healing and the greatest success moving forward. And I do have a pretty big note for this one before we even get into aspecting. One thing I will say about what's moving around this moon, there are 2 huge shifts going on the day before and the day after this new moon. On November 6th, the north node of the moon will be heading into Cancer. Huge energetic shift. From the north node of the moon being in Leo for a year and a half, we will now have it in Cancer, which is shifting the focus. It's shifting the collective forward-moving focus into a different kind of energy, which is cardinal energy and not a fixed energy. If you guys are interested in me doing more on the north node of the moon being in Cancer for the next year and a half, let me know. Okay, so we have that on the 6th. On the 8th, the day after, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. So from the new moon of last year to the new moon this year of Scorpio, that was the Jupiter transit basically. And so we're closing it out with this new moon. So we will be in the last degree of Jupiter and Scorpio when this new moon happens. Pretty poetic, don't you think? Okay, so Scorpio's fixed sign energy. Anybody who spent time with fixed signs, which is Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, knows that fixed signs stick it out for the long haul. They can be a little bit stubborn. And Scorpio is an interesting one because they are the sign of transformation, but they are loyal, they are devoted, and they do get locked into obsessive patterns. Not all Scorpios, but that energy has that side to it. So when we have a new moon in that energy, we are going to be asked to look at our patterning, our addictions. And not only that, but Scorpio is an investigative energy. Scorpio wants to dig around and find out what's lurking behind those doors in your hallways, in your mind, in your spirit, where you've kept hidden secrets. So this energy is a little bit probing. And I mean, you guys will know about that because the Venus retrograde that will still be going on when this new moon occurs will have just recently finished up her time in Scorpio. And in some ways, this new moon is kind of a close-up of what you experienced when Venus was retrograde in Scorpio, because that is a really powerful transit right there. Of course, now Venus will still be retrograding, but she'll be over in Libra next door. So she's not going to be so impactful on this moon in that direct sense of being in the same sign. However, we're still doing that work. And this is where my note comes in because it's important for how we relate to people. And I do think that this moon is going to be a moon that is about your patterning when it comes to how you write yourself into stories. And this is just a great opportunity to sit with the questions I'm about to ask and see where you may have very hidden, secretive little addictions or patterns that you've held on to for maybe your whole life, maybe 5 or 6 years. Really depends on what you've experienced and how you've learned to survive. So, where are you addicted to disappointment or rejection or grief? Sometimes we get really attached to loss. And I know that sounds funny because your conscious mind would never say, oh yeah, I just love to be rejected. Nobody says that. I've never met anybody who says, I love being rejected. Most people go around their whole lives consciously trying to avoid rejection at any cost. But underneath that, there's another level. You start, when that's an addiction, this won't be everybody's question. I have more questions. But if this is something that is lurking with you, you'll notice that you'll start to you will constantly meet with people and you'll want to draw people in who don't really ever fully show up. And that is an addictive cycle because what it does is it triggers this desire to win the game, to win this person over. And you start to associate love and connection with trying to get somebody to come closer to you. But what you're really doing is you're kind of addicted to this cyclical disappointment and grief, right? There's something there that's associated, that's wired there. So that's one option. Here's another pattern, or addiction, we can call it, pattern, wiring, habit that gets very deeply ingrained. Where do you give and give and give to people? And then when you don't actually make changes in your own life, you feel like you are justified in that. Where are you addicted to getting your approval from other people by helping them all the time? You can be very addicted to getting approval. And, if that's something that's coming up for you, you may find it hard to be around people who you don't get that approval. Maybe you messed up, or maybe you haven't been able to give them what they want, or maybe, they don't want anything from you, or you feel you can't perform in a way that you'll get that approval, in which case you might keep those people away, but you'll keep the people who can suck your resources because at least that you can give them what they want, and then you get that approval, and then that starts to become your reality, that you have to give this way, that you have to put yourself out that way, that you have to lift other people up, that you have to do their projects for them, that you have to constantly hold that torch in order to get approval, in order to be loved. That's a really subtle one, and that is one that seems so benefic on the surface because you're doing great things for people, and don't get me wrong, it's wonderful to give, it's wonderful to care for people, it's wonderful to feel validation. But there's that extra layer of, is that real? Is that your way of feeling valid as a being, right? So that's another pattern that can come up. Let me look at my notes here because I asked a lot of questions, so I'm trying to be as clear as I can be about this. Are you addicted to giving energy to other people, other projects, other things? And then that way you can avoid where you actually want to be building and growing and expanding your own life. Are you feeling like you want to stay in your safety bubble and you don't want to push yourself to that next level? So you kind of stay with the same group of people or the same routine or the same habits rather than reaching out to those people who are not challenging, but who are a little bit intimidating or are like the next level in your life. Where are you kind of holding back and not taking that leap? Or kind of, just pushing yourself out there a little bit more so that you get that connection with the next version of yourself, right? Because what I'm getting at here when I'm asking each of these questions, once again, each of you have your own story for where you like to hold yourself, where you write your story, where you feel you are valid, or where you feel that you can say, see, I'm not valid, so I can't make changes. However this is coming up for you, what I'm really getting at here is, where are we holding ourselves in a container that is based on a false premise that we have built into our psyche and into our being, into our conscious mind, that's affecting the way we're moving forward? Because I tell you what, with the way that things are moving, and the way this world is moving, and the way the collective consciousness is moving, and the issues that are coming up again and again and again in the forefront of our political and socioeconomic climate, there is no time to sit back here and hold safe to old ways We have to show up for ourselves so that we can show up for others in an authentic way that's not just about getting validation. This is a moment in time where we are all asked to step into a deeper, richer version of ourselves. And even if you don't want to go there, why would you want to live with patterns that aren't serving you anymore? Maybe they served you in the past. Maybe they snuck up on you. A lot of times they just sneak up on us. We don't even realize. You get that first sense of validation, and then 5 years later, it's a very simple, it happens all the time. This new moon, you're going to be sitting there thinking through that. And it's really important to think about that, because sometimes we think what we're doing and the lifestyle we've built and what's kind of around us in the current moment, that's all we're good for. And we start to buy into it. And I tell you what, I have a feeling with this new moon that if there's something like that that feels a little bit like it doesn't totally fill you up, but you're there because it feels safe, it'll be nagging at you. You'll know exactly what this is. So it might feel a little uncomfortable, which is why I suggest maybe give this day or two, these 3 days with everything shifting around, some time to notice where you're feeling that discomfort. You know, when you have like that, you're busy with a whole bunch of stuff and then there's something on your mind that's nagging at you, that's bothering you, and you're like, what is it? That kind of feeling could be coming up a lot with this new moon. And spending time releasing this patterning and realizing you don't have to base all of your decisions on it. You don't have to torture yourself over it. This is going to be a practice that you institute over time. So don't worry about getting it all figured out on this day. Just notice this is what's coming up. There are a few aspects. I'm going to start shuffling. There are a few aspects coming up with this moon that I'd like to tell you about before we start getting into the cards. So we have, this is a pretty watery new moon because we have a Cancer, the north node of the moon going into Cancer. The moon herself is in Scorpio. The sun is in Scorpio. We still have Neptune in Pisces, which is still retrograde, I believe. But that is doing a nice trine with the moon because Neptune's at 19 degrees of Pisces. So that watery, soft energy, and look what came up as I was saying, that 6 of Cups. This is Venus retrograde still working her magic. I'll talk about this in a second. I'm just going to talk about these aspects really fast. And then we're going to continue this conversation about patterning in relationships and where we give and where we take and where we receive and where it's old and it's outdated and we have to let it go. But first, let's talk about these. So, we have this watery Neptunian energy influencing this moon. That can be really great, though. It's gentle, it's soft, it's healing. Once again, there's a healing softness to this moon in general. The aspects aren't so harsh. We still have Pluto in Capricorn. These guys, they're going to be hanging out here for a while, so I might as well get used to me mentioning these almost all the time. Pluto in Capricorn is also hanging out, sextiling the moon. And that is more of that drive to make changes. And I actually think this is really good. We need that drive because, you recognize that you have a patterning where you're kind of addicted to dating people where you don't actually have to show all the way up because they kind of always disappear or something. There's like that drive, like, no, I really want to experience full life of people that really respect and love me because I respect and love me. So there's a drive to shift around these old patterns. There's a drive to move past them, and I think that's where that Pluto influence is going to be amazing. The other big thing going on here is that Mars and Venus are trining as well. They're both in air signs. So Mars, let me look at my notes here. Mars is at 25 degrees of Aquarius, and Venus is retrograde at 26 degrees of Libra. That is a beautiful aspect, quite honestly, because air energy is communicative, right? And these two energies want to figure out how to connect the dots. And when you have Venus and Mars, the lovers, trining like this, so close within 1 degree like that, it is benefic for connection. It is benefic for meeting a partner, getting deeper in a conversation, opening up a conversation about relationship. Four of Cups. My gosh, that card just loves to hang out with me. I think it's partially that we really are in this Venus retrograde. You know, I'm sitting here at the heart of it filming this, so Four of Cups. So that is a really powerful trine. And it's sitting there in the context of this new moon saying, okay, you don't want old patterning, which means that whoever you're connecting with that trine, with the Mars-Venus trine, be very conscious of the fact that it has the potential to lead to old patterning, and it also has the potential to lead you out of old patterning. So pay attention to where you're feeling the intuitive nagging, where things don't feel like they're flowing or quite lining up, or if you're feeling that and it's feeling really good, then great. You know, those aspects will do amazing things, and you have the potential to have a lot of deep healing there. This is a great moon to spend with people you're close to, people that you love, people that you trust, people that you want to open up to. You know, you don't need to have a big party here. Keep it simple. The Star. That's so nice. Okay, I'm going to pull one more and then we'll talk through these cards. This is just a very intuitive time. And when we are not serving ourselves very well in how we're choosing to give of our time and energy and our focus, and where we're putting our thoughts and where we're putting our focus and who we're giving our attention and our time to, we feel it at a deep level. And I just think this new moon is going to amplify that. And there's going to be this desire, this drive to say no more. I'm not interested in that. I'm bored by that, in fact. I want a deeper, richer experience that isn't about validation, Queen of Swords, communication, healthy boundaries, right? Here's that Venus and Libra, Mars and Aquarius energy for you. Swords, water and air, highly influential energies in this new moon, right? Okay, let's talk about these cards. I'm getting my head wrapped around this moon. I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days. And I just think there are some interesting results coming out of this moon, so keep that in mind. Okay, Six of Cups, Four of Cups, deja vu, babe. Deja vu, old patterning. Six of Cups, yes, it is about nostalgia, childhood, romance, sweetness, innocence, you know, like young love. Young love, yes, there is a sweetness to the Six of Cups, but whenever I see the Six of Cups, I always think this looks like a really nice, simple scene. There is so much more beneath this. This is not simple at all. There's like 10 stories underneath this story, right? And the reason that I'm feeling this so much to have to do with the old patterning, it's the context of this entire conversation we've been having, and it's also because we're next to the Four of Cups. This Six of Cups represents what has been in the past. What has been in the past. Yes, it can be about past relationship patterning. Yes, it can be about past lovers knocking on your door and wanting in. It can be about realizing that your current relationship is still based on a past relationship pattern that's not serving you anymore. It can also be that within your relationships, whether those be friendships or romantic relationships or any type of close family relationship, really any type of relationship, that you're taking the time to look through and parse through what is no longer serving you in that relationship and how you can help it move forward into healthier territory. Where you can help it grow and be nurtured and healthy and not just stuck in a loop, a never-ending loop that reverberates out and out and out and gains momentum. These cards are tricky, though. I have to say, to navigate these healthily, you have to slow down a little bit. And there is a lot of slow energy right now. In general, there's still retrograde action going on all over the place. And we are in pre-shadow. We're in the pre-shadow phase of the Mercury retrograde coming up later this month. And we're in Scorpio season. So come on, we gotta take some time here. And these energies, the best thing you can do, these are not about knee-jerk reactions. These are not about pushing agendas on people. These are not about trying to get everybody in line at a specific time. These are about taking a second to look. This picture is not as simple as it seems. There are other things going on. What are the exchanges going on there? Who owes who what? I know that sounds terrible, but this is where our minds get to at some point, sometimes in more complex relationships, and when it comes to old patterning especially. Something has to leave from this scenario, right? And we're always transforming. We always have the opportunity to experience life in a new way that doesn't involve some of this stuff that has to do with pain and with grief. You know, we're always invited to learn about that next horizon. We are always invited to learn about a new type of relationship, a new type of moving through the world. And what these cards are doing is they are forcing us to slow down, these energies. They're forcing us to slow down and notice where we are just holding on to something because it's comfortable, it is known, it is something we can see ourselves in and we don't have to worry about growing, and where we want to move forward. And there is you could feel a little squirmy in this energy because it holds you there and forces you to look at it and forces you to see where you've been holding yourself back. Now, the other side of this is the forward growth. My favorite expansion card is the Star, and this has been coming up a lot for November readings. In fact, I don't remember how many signs got this, but the Star was popping up. And so I was giving my Star spiel, which is the Star wants you to heal. The Star wants you to incorporate. The Star wants you to expand into new horizons. It wants to experiment, wants to push forward. Mars is in Aquarius after all. So we are in experimental territory. We are in revolutionary territory. We are in groundbreaking energy with that. But the Star wants all the good things to happen. The Star is here to give you what you want out of the scenario. The Star is not going to give it to you unless you are willing to move on and move forward from this. You know, she's the water bearer. The water bearer wants to move the water. She's dumping these vessels out. These people are holding on to them. And she's here, Star is paired with the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is a tough cookie. She's a truth bringer. She says things cut and dry. She sets boundaries. She says no. She also says what she needs. She says what she needs. Now, the Queen of Swords is not known for her vulnerability. She's not known for kind of just showing her emotional side, right? She wants to be a lot more directive and clear. Maybe you're dealing with a bossier personality in your life on this new moon. Some of you, I'm sure that's true that you're dealing with somebody who's got this vibe. But there's a message coming through here with the Queen of Swords, which is the only way you're going to get to the Star is if you say what you want and you say what you mean and you ask for it. You aver it. You are also not going to get what you want if you don't set healthy boundaries for where you are overgiving in order to get that approval, or where you are giving away your power in your own mind. That can be cleared out. This air energy, it's moving. It clears the cobwebs out of your head, right? You know, that's why you go for a brisk, cold walk in the fresh air, so that you can clear your mind, so that you can get things moving, so that you can focus on where you're going next. This is unimaginable horizon territory. And while I don't think that this new moon is supposed to be about you just trying so hard to just like think way outside the box, I think you need to be patient with yourself in this new moon. I think you need to slow down and take a breath and don't feel like you need to get this practice underway right away. But you are being asked to turn and look where you want to go next. Because I think one of the outcomes of a Venus retrograde, I can't stop talking about it, but really, one of the outcomes of that is that we always think we know what's best for us, and we think, this is what I want, and I'm going to have it. The Venus retrograde, because she rules what we love and value, asks, is it? Is it? And the things that, yeah, and a lot of times she brings in a surprise. Oh, you're right. I did want this, But there are some things about it that I want to be a little bit more refined. Oh, you're right. I didn't really want to live that life. That life would have felt heavy on me down the road. She's trying to get us to turn over old habits. And this new moon is working with that. This new moon is saying, okay, finished. We're starting new energetic cycles. There's really no time. I mean, there is. You can opt to stay back there. It's fine. No judgment. Seriously. Everybody has their process. But there's an invitation for some new practices. There's an invitation to be a bit brave in where we're choosing to put our foot next. There's an invitation to be a bit brave in where we're putting up our boundaries and where we're communicating, where we're reaching out. It's not about sticking with the familiar and the comfortable, where you know you're going to get your approval or you know you're going to get your put down, but then at least you know where you are. This is about interacting in a new way. This is about experiencing life in a new way. This is about pushing into slightly uncomfortable territory in order to find out what's on the other side. This is very experiential energy, which is that idea that you can talk about these concepts all day. I could sit here talking with you for another 2 hours, believe me. And that's great. It's great to think about these things. It's great to imagine things. It's great to feel the energy of it. But there's nothing like trying and putting your foot out there and seeing what comes of it. You never put the full picture together until you've really experienced it. So this is the beginning of an invitation to start experiencing life in a new way. And once again, these are all practices. So they're not going to be done and finished once this new moon happens. They are just going to be the beginning of a new, fresh page, but you are totally capable of opening the door to the next thing with ease. You know, you don't have to judge yourself for any pattern you might be picking up in yourself. Don't judge yourself. It's fine. It's really okay. You're a process. You were experimenting with what that felt like. You were curious about what that felt like. And now it's time to be curious about something else. Okay, loves. I am going to close it out there because I am feeling so many things these days. In fact, you know, I just want to give everybody encouragement out there. I know, like, I have the sunny disposition, and I really do. And even I have had to slow down. In fact, I was slowed down today. I had to just, like, take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. Admittedly, I love naps. But, you know, sometimes I also feel overwhelmed by these transits and need to take that time out for myself. And that is a beautiful thing. I never judge those things. I never judge when I realize I have old patterning. I try my best not to. And I think it's good to remember that it's not about perfection. It's not about approval. It's not about winning a game. It's not about manhandling yourself or other people into being anything in any particular day. There's no race here, and there's no ledger keeper, and there's no scorekeeper. And we create that in our own minds, and our society has created a lot of systems to keep score. But in the end, those are basically torture devices for us in our minds. And I hope that you just take this moon to love on yourself and love on your process, even where there has been hard learning, and to know that it's okay to slow down and incorporate, to know it's okay to show your vulnerability and to even make a mistake or feel a little bit foolish. The fool is one of the best energies there is. All of those things are beautiful. If any of those things are experienced during this new moon, I promise you, that's beautiful. If you decide to put yourself out there and try something new at that trine with Mars and Venus, or if you decide to be quiet and keep to yourself, if you decide to have a really important, maybe even boundary setting conversation where you put somebody and you say, I need space from this, or you decide that you want to put it out there and say you want to be closer. All of these things are beautiful. All of these things are valid. Your journey is your own journey. And even me sitting here giving you the energies that are around this moon can't ever override what you as a being, as a source of energy, as an extension of source energy and as a creative force of energy, want to create and build with that. So I just want to put that reminder out there. I do feel that in Scorpio season, we are all a little bit more sensitive. We are all a little bit feeling at a deeper level, which is an amazing thing. And sometimes we need a reminder that the process at work with us is doing beautiful things, and we don't have to be ashamed of it, and we don't have to put a price point on it. Okay. I love you guys so much. I will see you for the next Moon Magic. I'm so excited that this is year 2. And I'm very curious to see what this new moon brings, because I just have a feeling about it, but I don't know exactly what will come of it. So I can't wait to share it with you all. Have a beautiful one. I will leave all my info in the description box. Keep posted. Things are happening. Things are moving around. I am doing sessions. I'm just booking into 2019 right now, so you're just going to want to plan ahead a little bit. You can also subscribe to my channel. We are growing and having so much fun, and I love to have you here with me. I think there's going to be more exciting news than ever in 2019 here in the Sarah Verba world. So keep posted. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. I love you so much. I was this close to almost crying in this video, but I decided to just like keep it low key, keep it mellow. So I will see you guys for the next moon, which is the Gemini full moon. Man, that's going to be a wild ride. So looking forward to it. I love you guys.